Well, from the C-suite to the golf green, Senator Marco Rubio asking MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred if he would give up his personal membership at Augusta National Golf Club after the commissioner pulled the All-Star game from the Peach State. Let's bring in former Miami Marlins President Dave Samson. So, Dave, you think Commissioner Manfred's going to respond to Senator Rubio?
No, not at all. Maybe with an eye roll. These letters happen. They come from senators and congresspeople, and the commissioner just takes it, reads it, and then puts it down. That's not even in his top 100 problems that he's dealing with today.
How do you think he got information about what's actually in the Georgia law that he has created such a furor about? I mean, it's clear that he was wrong on he was given bad information, if you will. First from the president, by the way, who passed on that information to all of us, which was wrong. And then probably by people in his corporate suite, no?
No, I actually don't think that's what happened. It's a little different with Major League Baseball. When you have an all-star game, there's only one thing you need to have an all-star game. It's not even a stadium. It's not even a city. You need the players, and you need the all-stars. And what I think happened here is the players, maybe players from the Players Alliance, which is a coalition that was formed after the death of George Floyd. I believe the players said to the commissioner through their union, if there's an all-star game in Atlanta, we may not know anything about the bill. We're not talking about the truth of what is written. However, we're not going. We're not going to do the home run derby. We're not going to play in the all-star game. And then you had white players who joined the black players. You had Latino players who joined the white players and the black players. What do you do if you're the commissioner? You've got sponsors who are scared, exactly as we just heard in your previous report. You have players who aren't going to play. Therefore, you really have no choice.
Wow. That's very interesting, Dave. And it's the first time I've heard it spelled out that way from somebody who's on the inside like you were. I'm just wondering, though, a commissioner, a baseball commissioner, used to have tremendous authority going right back to the 1940s. Is it conceivable that he could have made a stand and say, wait a minute, there's a lot of misinformation here before we make a decision that is that radical of pulling our MLB game from Georgia? First, let's acquaint ourselves with the fact. I mean, couldn't he have said it's time to stop and investigate all this a little more closely?
You have to really choose your timing if you're going to do that and go down that educational road. But let's talk about what's happening in baseball, which is right now they're in the middle of starting to negotiate the new collective bargaining agreement. And you know the relationship between players and owners is not good. And the commissioner's main job, in addition to increasing everyone's assets, is to have labor peace. And right now there is not much peace. So when players go to him and say, we're not playing, are you going to choose this as your line in the sand? Are you going to say, let's get educated, let's take a minute, and then let's do what we said we were going to do and stay in Atlanta? No chance.
Wow.
You've got much bigger fights down the road, so you're going to let this one go. You're going to move the All-Star game, and you're going to move on your way to the next problem.
But, Dave, I'm not going to let it go. I don't think Fox News is going to let it go. We're going to be reporting on a lot of things. For example, the fact that Colorado, where the All-Star game is going to be moved to, has election laws that are, in fact, more restrictive than what Georgia's new election law is. So, I mean, we're going to continue to report how ridiculous it is to transplant the All-Star game from Georgia to Colorado, even though Colorado has more restrictions on how long you can vote than Georgia does.
Yeah, but I think you're making a mistake. You're trying to look at this factually, and I'm trying to give you context here. The context is some fights are worth fighting and some are not. If you hear from your players that they're not going to play, then what exactly are you supposed to do? I understand that he could sit down with the union. He could sit down with players in the Players Alliance. He could explain until he's blue in the face. And it wouldn't have made one bit of difference in this case.
By the way, we're looking on this screen, Dave, at the difference between Colorado and Georgia voting laws, and you can see quite clearly the first line. Georgia has 17 days of early voting. Colorado only has 15 days, but for some reason, Colorado is seen as politically correct. The facts don't matter, as you said. It's kind of frightening. That really defines the woke culture, I think, where the facts don't matter. Good to see you, Dave. Thank you very much for explaining it to us. You really did a great service in helping us figure out what's going on here.